Uno is the name of the game. This cool card game is very popular all over the world for a very good reason. It's just so much fun to play and so simple to learn. Uno will keep you on high alert as you try to be the first to play all the cards in your hand ahead of the other players. Watch out though, as your friends will try and throw you off with various different color, number, and action, or also known as symbol, cards. Just keep an eye out for those wild cards that can completely change the game. Here's how you play Uno. First things first, choose a dealer. Give the deck a good shuffle and have everyone picking a card from the deck. The one who picks the card with the highest number will become the dealer. All action or symbol cards without any numbers will be counted as 0. Once the dealer is chosen, each player will be given 7 cards from the dealer. Put the remaining deck face down in the middle of the table. This will be the draw pile. Following this, the top card of the draw pile is turned over face up. This card will become the discard pile, where everyone will place their cards on, and from here, let the game begin. It's important to take note of what this first card of the discard pile is. More on that in a moment. The person to the left of the dealer will start the game. This player will look at their hand and place a card corresponding to the number, color, or symbol of the card currently at the top of the discard pile. However, if you don't have a card that is playable onto the discard pile, then you must draw a card from the top of the draw pile, which is the main deck. If this card is playable, great! You may play this card. If your card is not playable, darn it. You must put it in your hand and pass it on to the next player. You can also choose to skip playing a card and draw instead. If you do this, however, you may play one card or pass. Once the player draws or places their card onto the discard pile, the next player chooses a card and continues the cycle of the game. This goes on and on until someone has played every card in their hand, which ends the round. The final piece of gameplay is once a player has only one card remaining in their hand, this player must shout Uno to the rest of the group. This indicates to the rest of the players that they have one remaining card and are about to win the game. If the player does not shout Uno and someone notices, they must draw 2 cards and miss their turn. Congratulations! You now know the basic rules of Uno. However, there are a few special cards that make this game extra fun. Remember earlier I said to take note of what the first card of the discard pile was? Here's why, and I will explain what each symbol does and if that first card is an action card with a symbol, what you should do. The following cards have special functions or actions based upon their symbol that the players must do. Remember that these cards can only be played based upon having the same color or the same symbol. The exceptions are the wild card, which can be played anytime. When the draw 2 card is played, the next player must draw 2 cards and their turn is skipped. If this card is the one that starts the discard pile, the player left of the dealer must draw 2 cards and skip their turn. The reverse card, once played, reverses the direction of play. If the direction started left, once a reverse card is played, it then goes to the right until another player lays down a second reverse card. If this card is the one to start the discard pile, the dealer then begins the game and passes his turn to the right and not the left. The skip card simply skips one player's turn and the second player across will then proceed their turn. If this card is the one that starts the discard pile, the player to the left of the dealer is skipped and the next player begins the game. When the wild card is played, the player who lays this card down chooses the next color that must be played by simply announcing what color they want their wild card to represent. If this card is the one that starts the discard pile, the player to the left of the dealer gets to choose what color to play in order to start the game. This card allows the player to choose what color card is played, and the next player must draw 4 cards and skip their turn. This card, however, can only be played if you have no cards that match the color of the discard pile. You can still play this card even if you have a matching color card in your hand. But if the other player gets suspicious, they have the right to challenge you to show your cards to them as proof. If found guilty, you will have to draw 4 cards instead. If innocent, the challenger will have to draw 6 cards themselves. If this card is the card that starts the discard pile, simply place this card back in the deck, shuffle, and take the next top card on the deck. This is the only card that can't start the game. Now we get to the new cards that Mattel has introduced to Uno in recent years. These cards are the wild, customizable cards and a special card. So far, Mattel has introduced two types of special cards, the Shuffle Hands card and the Swap Hands card. At present, some decks may have the Swap Hands card, and some decks may have the Shuffle Hands card. So if you are buying a deck, take note of what version you prefer by looking at the back of the box. Perhaps in the future, Mattel may unveil a new type of special card, but for now, what we have is either the Shuffle Hand card or the Swap Hands card. When this wild card is played, collect every card from each player's hand, shuffle them, and evenly distribute the cards starting with the player to the left. If this is the card that starts the discard pile, it acts like a wild card and the first player chooses what color to start the game. When this wild card is played, you may choose any player and swap the cards in your hand with that person. Naturally, you would choose the person with the least number of cards. Being a wild card, you can also play it at any time with any color, and of course, choose any color that you want it to represent to resume play. If this is the first card that starts the discard pile, it acts like a wild card and the first player chooses what color to kick off the game. These are special customized wild cards that you as a group get to add into the game. You write an action step that must be taken and then proceed the game as if this were a regular wild card. These can be as simple as 2 players play rock, paper, scissors and the loser must draw 2 cards, or as crazy as you make the player act as if they are a chicken. Of course, these rules must be agreed upon by everyone before you begin the game. Remember guys, keep things PG friendly. Once a player has won the round, each player must count their cards to the equivalent of their point values and add them all up. Number cards equal their face value in points. Symbol cards equal 20 points. Wild shuffle, swap hands, and customizable cards equal 40 points. And the regular wild and wild draw 4 are 50 points. These points are then awarded to the person who won the round. You then begin another round and continue playing until one player has scored 500 points. The first person to score 500 points is crowned the winner and the best Uno player in your group. However, you can play to more or less points however you choose to play. 2 common questions. How do you end the game if the last card played is an action card? It's quite simple actually. If it's one of the wild cards, they can be played to represent any color and the game ends right there. This applies for the wild card, swap hands, shuffle hands, and the customizable cards. No further action is required, just state the color and end the game. But if it's a wild draw 4 or a draw 2 card, the next player still needs to draw those cards and only then the game ends. Those cards must still be tallied up in the final score for the round. Another very common question is, can we stack cards if someone played a draw 2 or draw 4 on us? The short answer is no. If I played a draw 2 or draw 4 on you, you just have to draw those cards and miss your turn. There is no stacking in classical Uno and Mattel has confirmed this in the past. If you have any questions, feel free to rewatch this video or ask the host of the game. I hope you enjoy Uno and good luck to you all. May the best Uno player win.